In just a minute now, you will see the witch in her supernatural form.
I heard Nora once got rabies for biting a rat who stood between her and her ice cold fatty the night outside MSG.
I was at a festival with Nora, and she went up to this lady with a baby and blew DMT smoke in her face.
Welcome to the party, bitch. Little like thing of holy water, and so every time she goes sees the dead, she just sprinkles people with fucking Bobby's ball water.
So I heard Nora almost got beat with a baseball bat in Chicken Alley for too much underboob.
Don't call me more.
One Nora!
Welcome to the party, bitch.
Okay, hello everybody, and welcome back to episode 6 of Don't Call Me Boring. And today I am so excited. I am joined by, I came up with this nickname by myself. I don't know if they'll like it. The Jobers of the jam scene. They're a 3-piece band. They're bi-coastal, and we have one person, me, interviewing them today. Guys, welcome JIMKATA. Am I pronouncing it correct? JIMKATA?
You got it. Yeah.
I was like,
right.
JIMKATA. So I have Packy and I have Evan with me. Aaron cannot be here today. But more for me. How you guys doing?
Good. A cold night in New York.
Yeah. Like, are you guys both New York based?
Yeah.
Upstate New York, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm from Jersey. I hope you don't hang up on me, but
No. Love Jersey.
I always say, I'm like, I only allow New York people to talk shit about Jersey people. Anyone else, it's fair game.
Yeah.
So I heard that you guys met in middle school. Do you guys have a secret handshake?
No. Is that boring? No, we don't have one. I mean, we've got lots. I mean, it's been so many years now. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of like
there's a language.
There's a language, that's for sure, and stories, and all of that. But as far as a physical handshake, no.
We'll have to create one. How did you guys meet?
In what, 7th grade in a music store, Oneonta, New York, where we grew up.
Yeah, I was taking guitar lessons, and Packy was taking drum lessons, as I recall. Either before or after me. It was the same shop. So you like walk in and like he would be like playing the drums, but it's like the display model with plastic cymbals. And then we would just kind of jam, because I'd pick up an electric guitar, plug into, some shitty amp in there, and I don't know, terrorize everybody in there. In the brief window between like my lesson and his lesson. Yeah. So that's my recollection of that.
So you guys just like met each other and you're like, let's start a band?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Who were y'all's influences at the time? Like when you're in 7th grade, who were you trying to emote or like be like?
Nirvana, Green Day.
Yeah. Rage Against the Machine.
Rage Against the Machine, No Effects.
Heavy stuff.
Yeah, heavy stuff, like a lot of punk and grunge stuff.
That's so, listening to y'all's catalog, like, that's very surprising.
Yeah, well, things changed, I guess, later. We discovered pot and then got into jam bands or whatever. But
well, as kids of the 90s too, I feel like all those worlds were meshing. There was like, people were into Nirvana and Primus and Rage Against the Machine, but also Phish was exploding. So like as children, we were all Phish fans. And so
for us, I think, the whole like Nirvana and all that, the grunge thing was like, it had passed already. But for us, like the way older, if we were kids, the way older, like, seniors in high school or whatever than us would be like Nirvana grunge band kind of thing. Like it was still that you would see like some 18-year-old like punk kid with bleach hair and holes in his jeans and be like, whoa, like I want to do that,
Cool.
Yeah, cool.
Do you guys think Courtney did it?
Yes.
You say yes? Man, I've looked into it. I've read a bunch about it. There's like one cop who like if I recall, there's like one Seattle cop who like raised some questions about it, and then, but like, you know, as it goes with a lot of these things, he was also just very sad and very, you know, addicted to drugs. So like I don't know.
He also said he was gonna do it, so that's kind of like,
Oh,
yeah, there's that.
I didn't know that. I feel like I researched it a lot too.
There was
I
like a
can't-
note because he was having stomach issues and like hospitalized, and he kept like there was a couple things that he wrote that were pretty dark of like, I don't know how much longer I can sustain, like, you know, take this. I don't like it, like I don't think I want to be here anymore if this is how it's gonna be. Like that kind of like vague language.
Yeah. And it was interesting too, like when you like hear about like his friends and like bandmates and stuff, like they're like, nah, dude, like he killed himself. Like, because they just know what kind of shape he was in before that. But
have y'all met anyone like close to Nirvana?
no, definitely not. We're not that old.
It's crazy. I saw that his daughter, Frances Bean, she married Tony Hawk's son. And I'm like, is that not the most 90s marriage ever?
That's fucking
I didn't
cool.
know that.
Yeah, that's
I saw
like
that too.
a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like think about that. Like they probably bonded because, I mean, who else would understand like a 90s icon better than Tony Hawk's son? You know, like I don't know. I mean, his father's still alive, but like still, I don't know. I thought that was cool. It's like shit. That's like a Tony Hawk's pro skater marriage or something. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I know.
pretty cool.
I'm a 94 baby, so I was a big No Doubt fan growing up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and I saw they're playing at Coachella, and like, oh, I know Coachella is like so mainstream, but I would
I
love
saw
to
that
see
too.
them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going crazy online. They're saying the ticket prices are like crazy expensive, but I'm gonna go to Coachella when JIMKATA headlines.
I went in
What?
2019 and saw the whole Kanye Sunday service on the Hill.
Oh my goodness, are you religious now?
Well, I mean, it was mind blowing because we were camping, like they did it right behind where the campground was. Like we were camping in the RV spots, and we woke up and like everybody was just like, this is like somebody's blasting Kanye West. And then so slowly everybody's just like, that's a PA system blast. They're like blasting it on the main system. Then somebody like got up on the roof of the RV and was just like, come up here and look over here at this. Because from the top of the RV, you could just see this, like it was probably like 50 feet from us where the hill started up. But they built that hill that weekend and covered it in fake grass.
Oh my
Really?
Well, I guess it was sod. It was actual grass, but like, yeah, they built it like because it all came about like super last minute. And they said he just came in and was like, no, we're going to do it right here. And we're going to build a mountain. Like, and he said he wanted it to be like twice as high as it was. But yeah, they got it done. And like, I knew because Evan, I walked past guys that I had worked with. Cause like I was getting phone calls there, seeing if I could come out and work Coachella, and I could see what they were doing, and I was just like, I'm not doing that.
You don't want to dig a hole or build a wall?
They were literally digging a hole. Yeah, they like, and there were it was a mess, like because it was also really really hot that year. It was like in the 90s.
Oh man, they're like, oh dude, we gotta build a hill.
Yeah, no, it was. I was seriously like in disguise, like walking past guys I knew, like I don't even want to deal with this.
Don't look at me.
I'm not signing up for any of it. Yeah, I'm not answering my phone. I'm not working. I'm here to hang out.
Yeah, that's usually what happens to me when I go to festivals. I'll like sign up to work, and then all of a sudden I'm like, don't look at me. I'm not working.
Yeah. Hey, you're supposed to be volunteering today at 12.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
The showbiz.
That's kind of a funny connection, or is the guy who the company I worked for there, he got his start with No Doubt.
Wait, what? No way.
Yeah, he was the front of house engineer for No Doubt and was on the road with them for years. And then he started it was a labor and tech company out in Los Angeles. And he just knew everybody like in the area, so people would hit him up looking for jobs and looking for gigs. And slowly he was just like, I'm making more money just basically like outsourcing labor and like putting people like where their expertise are, that I'm just going to stay home and continue this company together. And so he just started doing that and fizzled out of No Doubt, and that's how he got his start.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. He was just at the right place at the right time. A funny, I know this is about you, but like one last thing about No Doubt. Funny piece of music trivia I figured out is that their first album, you know, the guy who sings "Ain't Nothing Gonna Break 'Em My Stride."
Oh yeah.
Matthew Wilder.
He produced
Yeah.
their first album.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
What's it called? Is that the Orange County one?
No, it's the they produced Tragic Kingdom.
Tragic Kingdom. Tragic Kingdom.
Right.
That was my first cassette.
Yeah, I definitely had that.
You
Oh,
got
yeah.
you.
It's
You
got the
guys should-
oranges on the front though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And she's in like the little pinup suit.
Yeah.
You guys should
No
put
doubt.
out a cassette.
Actually,
We did.
Oh, you did?
We
Okay.
have some. Yeah.
I did do my research, I swear, but I did not look into
Well,
your cassette history. I apologize.
It would be hard to find. I only know because we just cleaned out like our merch store, like our online merch store, and like moved it. And they were like, "Oh, we have like 50 cassettes left." I was like, "We have cassettes? Sick!" And cassette players.
Yeah.
You get
Wait,
Walkman.
that's amazing.
Yeah,
Okay, well, should bring them back for your tour that's coming up.
We should just bring them on the road. We got them. Like,
Yeah.
I forgot they existed too, and I was like, "Oh shit, these are cool."
Yeah, they're it's crazy. It's like first like records came back and now they're going back to cassettes. But anyways, I want to talk more about y'all. This is about you guys.
Yeah.
So you guys met in middle school. So growing up in the Jersey Shore, I don't know about y'all, but like my friends that I met in 7th grade, I had a lot of firsts with. So did you guys have any like firsts together? Like, did you guys smoke your first cigarette together or like give me some deets?
I don't
Definitely
know.
first concerts. I feel like we all went to the first shows. We all went to see Phish. Remember, and your mom took us to see Phish in Albany.
That is correct.
Do you remember it?
Yeah,
I do.
Oh yeah.
You must not have had a good time then. I'm just kidding.
Oh no, had a great time.
I'm kidding. What did they open with?
Mellow Mood by Bob Marley.
Oh my goodness.
And they encored with Fire by
Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix, yeah.
Oh gosh. I'm a big fan of Phish in case you couldn't tell. What are y'all signs?
I'm an Aquarius.
I'm a Pisces.
Okay, good. As long as you guys aren't Scorpios, or I'd have to end the interview right there.
That's the thing, huh?
Boo, don't even talk to me.
You don't like Scorpios either?
I don't pay attention.
I figure it's more of a girly thing, but I always like to like just know so I know how to like navigate the rest of the conversation.
I was about to be a wise ass and tell you my son was Brontosaurus.
You're what? Oh, I thought you were gonna say your son. I was like, that must have hurt your wife. That sounds painful. I saw that you guys took a hiatus in 2017. Did you guys take a hiatus and intentionally were like, we're gonna regroup at a certain time, or did you guys have certain things you wanted to each work on before you got back together? Or describe to me like how that happened.
We had no plan whatsoever. We just kind of stopped, and then it was kind of a tough time, but eventually, Packy and I have been talking a lot about going out to LA and just like, let's get the fuck out of here. And for no real reason other than like, I don't know, we'll just work there, and maybe, I don't know, I just want something different, and lived in New York, upstate New York, my whole life pretty much. And we're just ready to get the fuck out and see some sun. And Packy's sister was living out there and killing it, and so we were like, all right, let's do it. And so that's kind of like, we were just living our own life, and then eventually, we began to see, like, I got a lot of messages and letters and emails and texts, and it just seemed like things were like, us going away was maybe not the right move, I guess.
Because streams were just all of a sudden going up in our absence. Do you remember that? We were like, what's happening here? Yeah,
and like we were just kind of, I think perspective was important. When you're doing it, and we had done it all from, I don't know, like through our 20s pretty much. And I think we just kind of burned out, had gone through a couple of different changes, and like band member wise and like business wise, and I think we were just kind of burned out, and you're so like in like tunnel vision on your own career that you're not really seeing completely like the love and the appreciation that's happening. And as we left, we really felt that and noticed like we created something really beautiful and something really good, and that's worthwhile in this life to do and pursue. And people missed it, and people, you know, man, people have stories. People have stories about what this music means to them, and it just, I think it really hit me. And you know, at some point, we just kind of like an old friend of ours who is in the music industry was like, hey, what do you need? I'll help you out. You know, like, let's get this going. You know, we're like, okay, like, you know, so we kind of like, there was several different, you know, types of encouragement that like helped us get back on our feet. And then the pandemic happened right when we were planning to release our big comeback. So yeah, but we'll be, prior to that, we'll leave it at that. That there, you know, it was a lot of just like love and positive feedback, and kind of our own little journeys and recognition of what our purpose is, you know.
Packy, what about you? I want to hear about you.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of summed it up, because we went out there and we didn't really have a plan, because we like the ship ran kind of in, you know, into the embankment like at the end of 2016, and we were all just really burned from being on the road for years and years. And then yeah, like the opportunity to go to California came up, so we went out there. And like we, in the meantime, like we didn't stop recording. Like Evan and I kept making demos and kept like sharing them around. And I think somewhere along the way we were just like, well, if we're doing this and like calling it JIMKATA, like let's get Aaron back in the fold. And then like sometime right in the middle of that is when COVID really hit. So we were planning on coming back. I don't know if you remember this, Aaron or Evan, but like the first shows were supposed to be like May of 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, and so like what happened was we had the record ready to go, ready to launch, and COVID hit in what, like early March. And then we decided to pivot because we're like, well, it's clear that nobody's gonna be playing shows for a little bit. So we started making all those music videos. And that's the only reason why we put so much effort into making those 10 videos for every song on that record, because we were kind of trying to wait out the pandemic until we can start playing again, and everybody can start playing again.
So is that Bonfires? Album Bonfires?
Bonfires, yeah.
Yes, I love that. I was listening to it all day today. I'm a big fan of music videos. I think music videos are kind of a lost art, but I get so excited when I see an artist put out like a quality music video, because, you know, they can do a countdown and you get excited. It feels like TRL kind of.
Oh yeah.
So I'm a big fan of music videos. I was watching a lot of your stuff. How are the spin sessions? Were those kind of recently?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
That was cool. I mean, they reached out to us about wanting to do that, and then we kind of just decided like that we had a whole other plan in mind. We were like, can we film this thing and like send it to you? And they were like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
And a friend of ours, Josh Sperling, who's an incredible artist, he let us use his studio space, which you know, it's kind of what you see in the background there. And it was a fun, cool. Yeah, and it was like fun. So we brought in Cooper, who's now playing bass with us regularly, Brian Davis on percussion. We brought in John Petranzio, JP, on Hammond organ and Rhodes, and he is incredible.
Yeah.
So like,
he was in John Brown's Body. You know John Brown's Body?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I saw them at Stone Pony in Asbury Park. That's where I'm from, and I think I might have seen y'all there.
Yeah.
But keep
we
going.
played there with Motet.
Yes.
We were just there. Yeah. You probably saw us, if it was a while ago, you probably saw us at one of the Saint shows, right?
It might have been the Saint, or it might have been like at Damien's. Does Damien's
Wonder Bar?
What? Not Wonder Bar. I don't know. I just remember like 10 years ago, I used to live like down at the shore, but I've been living in Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
It might have been with Spafford, or did you guys ever tour with Spafford?
We played with them in Denver.
Huh.
Oh, we did?
I think it was the only time we played with them was in Denver.
Like I said, it was 10 years ago. So God, we're
sure,
old.
yeah. I believe it.
We're gonna pretend it's 10 months ago.
Like I said, that was in the heat of our like grinding years of just like being on the road constantly.
I just remember constantly seeing y'all's names, so I'm excited that you guys are back.
Makes
together.
sense, yeah.
So gosh, that must feel so good that you were loved and missed like during your hiatus. I mean, I've like talk to a lot of musicians. I know that being in a band can kind of sometimes feel like a relationship. How do you guys maintain your friendship while also working together?
Hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, you know, honestly, the way things are now, it's interesting. Like, I feel like for all of us, it almost, I mean, to me, I'll speak for myself. I feel like the road is almost easier than like being at home sometimes, where like, or, like in terms of like, now we're like together. Like all of us are busy, like individually, you know, like Aaron is a dad, Packy's a dad. Um, and we're all like busy in our own lives. So like being on the road and spending hours in the van and like going in and out of venues and hotels and stuff, like it's kind of, I mean, to me, it's just fun now. Like, and I think that's kind of where, you know, we get to catch up, you know, like late night, you know, after a show or like whatever. And to me, I mean, that's kind of it's like built around music. And I feel like having other adult responsibilities makes being out on the road, which I like associate with, I don't know, like just I mean, I associate it with like those early years of touring and like fun, like not always fun. It was I mean, challenging, but like, you know, you're like young and stupid and just having fun. So like, I don't know, I kind of always just like associate that with whenever I get a chance to hang out with these dudes.
What about you, Packy? How do you, you know, maintain a working relationship, but also being friends with someone and not letting like your feelings get in the way of work?
Well, I think it feeds into each other because like we all have like equal stake in this, and we've all been doing it together forever. And like our entire friendship, I would say, is based on making music together. So like it's I look at them as like kind of inseparable, because if we were just like hired guns that like maybe one person in the band hired everybody out, it would be an entirely different dynamic. And I don't think we would have like lasted on the road as many years as we did, because it's like Evan said, like we still just have so much fun together. And like it's really about like doing that and like the camaraderie of like catching up. And you know, especially now that we all have like kind of separate lives, and we all live in the area now, but Aaron lives like an hour away. And so it is nice to just get together and do that. But I think a big part of it too is that we all just trust each other. Like I think to the end of the earth, like there's never been like ego involved in what we do with each other. Like it's always just like the best idea is going to come through. And like we all have been really good at like, you know, like Evan said, we've had some lineup like issues in the past with like just one member not like clicking, but it's always been the three of us. And like the entire creative drive has always been from us. And so like that we became a three-piece in the first place because we're like, we're already just kind of doing all this, so let's make that happen. But like Evan said, in the last 6 months we've added a member. And what's funny was he was on the road with us for 2 years as our front of house engineer before we kind of vetted him out to be like, all right, you're just going to be on stage now, because you're going to be much more valuable playing bass and synthesizers and other stuff with us than you will be behind the desk back there. So
Heck yeah. I
So
apologize calling you guys a three-piece at first because I didn't realize you added 2 members, so I apologize.
Well,
so shout out to those 2.
Yeah, well, we haven't like you know, we didn't make like a big press release. It wasn't even an official thing. We just, I think, made an Instagram post of like, hey, this is Cooper. You might have recognized him from being, you know, front of house for the last couple of years, but he's gonna be like, you know, with us for the foreseeable future. And that was that. Like we didn't like make a big thing about it.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, y'all. In case you didn't see their Instagram.
JIMKATA has a bass player again.
Yeah.
JIMKATA has a 4th member, and I think maybe a 5th member. I'm getting the
well, the 5th
the
member,
headline.
no, but we did for the spin thing, which was really cool.
Oh, gotcha.
Right. That was more of a JIMKATA and Friends thing. And Cooper's the one that you see playing bass for that performance as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
So he'd always filled in, and like he and I, like we became fast friends as soon as I moved. I didn't know him before I moved back to Ithaca, and we just hit it off like immediately. And we'd always jam together anyway. So like I knew he had the chops, and I knew that he could hang. But yeah, it was just kind of funny that he had to work first. We always joke that he had to do 2 years of training before he could get on stage.
I mean, you got to pay your dues. I mean, not just anyone can be on the stage with JIMKATA. So I saw that your band name is named after an 80s kung fu movie that is, as on your website says, it's so bad it's good. So I'm curious to know, what are some other things that you think are so bad it's good? What are some like music that you listen to that might be like a guilty pleasure, or
Tonight
if you could.
it's on the loose. What's that?
Yeah, I was thinking that.
The last tour we did, this is our pump up jam was this band Saga.
Never heard of them.
From the 80s.
Love
it's
it.
like 80s. It's kind of, I mean, I don't want to insult anybody. I mean,
I'm a big Bret Michaels fan, so I'm
like
an 80s person.
It's like 80s prog rock.
Yeah.
But they have like one big hit that's just like so ham, like so over the top that like it's just kind of fun. It's like, I don't know. You put it on and just like you're like, yeah, let's go.
I love it. No, that's my motto. I love things that are so bad it's good, because people take themselves so seriously, especially in the music scene. I'm sure you guys see like oh, you know, Phish's lyrics don't mean anything, or like it's like sometimes life is just about having fun and laughing, you know?
Oh, that's what we're all about. Like,
I can tell.
I mean, that's how we've survived. I mean, and I think that like, I think that's how, you know, honestly, like the first like 10 years of being on the road, I think a lot of what was like a, you know, like an attribute for us to a degree, and maybe there's some people that disagree, but I don't know. I feel like we made a lot of friends. Like we like to have a good time. We don't take ourselves too seriously. And like everywhere we went, like at that time we would just crash at people's houses and stuff. And I just felt like kind of after, you know, 10 years or whatever, looking back, you're like, oh, like I know somebody in this city and that city and that city. And now if I'm on a trip or like driving through some town, I'm like, oh yeah, that place. Oh, I wonder if so-and-so still works there. Like, I don't know. That to us, that's like another fun part of the whole thing. It's just like, yeah, like we're here to have fun, you know, like music is fun, and we're just trying to create a good time. And that's, you know, that's more of what we need in this world. A lot of things are heavy and serious. And so like, we try to just, you know, take a deep breath.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's like, let's just bring that back. You know? To be like politics and like laws. Like, let's just have some fun. I agree.
Well, it's also just dynamically, it's like it can be hard to like strike that balance of the right personalities at the right time. And like Sam Edwards even said that. He goes, I love touring with you guys because the hang is just so fun. He's like, you guys just like, you take what you do seriously, but like you're not uppity. You don't have attitudes or egos about what you do. It's like, he's like, I can fuck around with you and not be like, oh, did he take that the wrong way or whatever. And like, we've always been like, I don't know, for better or for worse, we've always been like pretty like open. And like, even between our fans, like we hang out outside the shows, we hang out at the merch table. Like you can come right up to us, and like we're not like too cool for school here.
I love that.
Well, it's like, and you know, the road is, I mean, it's definitely tough at times. Like sometimes you're really tired, you're hungry, you're like uncomfortable, you're cold, you don't have enough space, you don't like whatever. Like there's moments, right, where everybody is,
and that you can't shit in the bus. I hear.
Right. Like you can't shit at the venue or like whatever. Like, you know, there's moments where like you know, you're uncomfortable, and I think you get used to kind of like giving people leeway, right? Of like this, you know, understanding whatever, that we're all just in this and all experiencing any of those things at any given moment. So yeah, try to have a sense of humor about it, I guess.
I love that. Well, that brings me to my next question. So my favorite movie is Almost Famous, and you know, they have the Band-Aids. So I want you guys to explicitly tell me, give me some Band-Aid stories. Do you guys have groupies? Do you guys have crazy fans? What's it like being 3 attractive men, or 4 if Cooper's around, or 5 if the guy on the thing's around? What's it like?
Well, all married now.
Congratulations.
No comment,
but in the past or something, or just like, even like I said, crazy fans or something, like what do you guys wish girls would do, wouldn't do, guys, whatever you're into?
In Boston one night, I remember we came out and somebody had spray painted the trailer, which was they just, I don't even remember what they wrote on it, but
that's just
that was cool. I know.
No, I mean, like, I mean, there's people that would like follow us around and all that, but I don't know, for the most part, I mean, I don't know. For the most part,
they're kind of in on the joke with us. I find that like our fans are like, I don't know, maybe that it's just that we're a little older now, but they all like have their own like lives too. So like, I mean, don't get me wrong, you encounter some wackadoos, but like there's, I don't know, I feel like our fans are very connected and invested in us, that it's almost like we're all on the same page. It's hard to describe.
Yeah. I know. I mean, I feel like I almost like grew up with y'all because I'm 29 now, but I think I was like 19 when I heard of you guys. So
Sure.
we're all in different spaces in our lives. So
Exactly. And especially like post, not to like go back to like it's a way different landscape than it was when we stopped in 2016. And then like
yeah.
with everybody going through the pandemic, that changed a lot of people, including myself. And so like we're still kind of finding like how that's all laying. And we talked to a lot of our bands like in our contemporary kind of peer group, and everybody's kind of in that same position where they're like, it just seems like all the cities we're hitting are like a little different than we remember them being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see also, sorry if you had something to add, Evan, but how are you navigating like the changing of the music landscape? I mean, now I use TikTok as a way to find music. How has that been adjusting to the shifting of social media and like
It's
ways people find music?
in short, it's fucking miserable because like you used to, I mean it. It used to be a 1-to-1 comparison where like you play a show, somebody's like, oh, I'm going to follow you on Facebook, and they see every post you make from there on. We have like 25,000 people that follow us that I know don't see anything we post. And like social media as a whole has like shifted, because I remember like when we started, like Facebook was still like the kind of thing that like nobody over age 25 was even on like yet. And like they open it up for everybody, and now like you literally have to pay to get exposed to the fans that want to see what your material is and they signed up to. So it's kind of maddening. And like I know we're not probably the first people to mention to you how like the algorithm right now is like kind of crazy and what you have to be doing, and that's why you see all the bands like skewing the way they market in order to like stoke an algorithm so they can reach their own fans that choose to follow them.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's a full-time job. I mean, even with this podcast, it's like I have 7 different social media outlets. Like it's so hard to do it alone. I can imagine what it's like having a full catalog of music, having a documentary that was just released a couple months ago. You guys have so much content. I mean, it's a full-time job for just one person just to, I feel, upload it and clip it to make it fit different. There you are. I forgot what you look like.
Yeah.
All right, let me just
Everybody's back.
talking about the changing landscape of social media, but I also just want to talk about the changing landscape of you guys. So how has your sound evolved since you first started to now?
I think we've definitely progressed as songwriters like throughout the years and focused more on production and studio tracks and stuff like that. But when we started, it was just as a band in a room, like jamming and coming up with songs. And then it was
guitar, bass, drums, and that was it.
Yeah. And then it wasn't until our first studio experience and Aaron getting some of his first synths as well, that kind of like hearing ourselves back made us realize like the gap between what we were playing and what we wanted to hear, and it's just been kind of a pursuit of that ever since. And we've just gotten more and more into like the production of a song. And then, I think in a way we're kind of coming back around now to like, hey, let's just be a band in a room together again.
I think I read that one of you guys is an Ableton addict. Was that you, Packy?
Yeah, I run Ableton session from behind the drum set. And so like a lot of like that, it kind of came into play because it was a like necessity of like, we started recording albums that had all this sound that like, we're like, who's going to play all this? There's only 4 of us. So we started having to sample everything and like creatively use it as like loops. And like, that's always a discussion of like, every time we add a song, I gotta kind of have to like suss out everybody and be like, what do you plan on playing? What am I going to sample? What am I going to launch on stage? So it's generally between like, I know what Evan's going to be playing. It's going to be guitar. He's going to be singing. It's usually like with Aaron, he's a little more of the wild card because he plays guitars, he sings, he plays synthesizers. Like there's percussion elements. There's a lot going on. So it's just, we try to do, the rule has always been if something can be played live on stage, that's what we're doing.
Love that. I love that. So I was going through y'all's Reddit while we had this little break. And Reddit is always a great way, I feel like, to dive in and really get to know people, because that's what the fans are saying. That's what the community is saying. So you guys played for Billy Breathes' 20th anniversary. Is that correct?
Oh shit. Yeah. Yeah, we did do that. That
Tell me about
was
that.
That's the second time that's come up today.
Wait,
Well, is that
dang
because-
it.
that's 'cause
I
we're
thought I was
playing-
original with this question.
Damn it.
Well, no,
I
like
did-
Evan,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, that's because we're playing with Escaper at Saratoga in Saratoga Springs, Putnam Den, April 6th, I think. Yeah. Okay.
I'll put
and
a
they played
link.
that.
I'll put a link at the bottom.
Yeah,
the
they
tickets.
played that show because they're
Right.
from there. So yeah, we were part of that show. We played
They were like the host band, and they brought us down there, right?
yes. Yeah, exactly.
What was that like? Was that a huge honor?
Yeah, it was cool because that whole era of albums, I mean, definitely Billy Breeze was a big one for me. Rift was a big one for me.
Yeah.
So it was a cool way to what did we play?
See, that's a good show.
I have the solo in my head because I had to like figure out the solo, but shoot, now I don't remember.
Was it
What
Waste?
song was it? No, it wasn't Waste.
Oh my god, if it was Waste, I would have died. That's a
It
good
was one of the
song.
slower-
Yeah,
And
it's a good song.
people rip on Waste, and I'm like, oh, it's so good.
There was
Yeah.
a period of time like I learned that.
That's a 90s song too. I mean, it makes me think of
Yes.
like
Yeah.
in a cassette in a car and you're making out with like your first like.
that we played. No, we played Billy Breathes itself. Did we not?
Was
The
it?
song,
That
might
took you
have been.
that long.
On
Yep.
the tree, Billy Breathes loaded on it. And so I remember like
Sing softly. Yeah, you're right. That was it.
Which was like it's so funny because I know that album very well, but that is so not us really. Like
Yeah.
that's not our sound. But it was cool to play it because it was challenging, and that's where the thing I appreciate about Phish is when you get into it, I had to learn the solo note for note, and it was this beautifully composed thing with twists and turns that I didn't fully realize were there. And
Yeah.
it was a lot
That's
of
chord
Phish
fun.
for you.
changes.
Yeah, exactly. And you almost just take it for granted. And like, obviously, I mean, I knew that they were there because the solo was already in my head, like from listening to it a bunch. But then when you actually study it, you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
this is, heady stuff.
It's music for geniuses, just like JIMKATA. And so I wanted to circle back just a little bit because I know I introduced you as the Joe Bros of the jam band scene. And I am sorry that I called you jam band because you guys are pop, electro, synth, rock. So what is it like? I love you guys because I love pop music just as much as I love jam band music. What's it like? Why'd you guys get into pop sort of area?
We've always been into like, I know I don't want to speak for Evan, but like, I feel like Michael Jackson was always a huge influence on like what we do.
Yeah.
I feel like, I hate to say like Genesis and like that kind of stuff, but
Why would you
we
hate to
all,
say
like,
that?
all this stuff I think was like, whether we knew it or not, like it was all permeating our, like as an influence, because that was just what was happening at the time of like the early 90s. And like, so I don't know, for me, I know that's when that kind of started for me. And like, yeah, I've always been into like beats, and I know like Evan's the same way. So anything that just like, doesn't matter if it's pop, if it moves you, it's it's good.
Yeah, like I was raised like definitely on Michael Jackson was a big one, but like my dad was really into like Motown stuff, and my mom was like into like show tunes. She's like a theater person, and so like melody was huge for me, melody and lyrics, and they were also into kind of like folky type stuff and Paul Simon and all that. So like lyrics were a big part for me as well.
A fellow New Jersey native, I will say. I had to interject.
yeah, Paul.
Yeah.
I got
Are we on a first name basis with him, Paul?
Our guy Paul.
Oh, Paul. Yeah, of course.
I
Love
call
him.
him Simon.
But yeah, no, so like I think the inclination for, I mean, don't get me wrong, like we love to expand and do different things every night live for sure. And I love creating, like a good groove or jamming on things. But for us it was always like, what's the song though? Like what are we jamming on? Why does this matter? It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter if I don't know like, where are we? Like what, like, because unless you're going to see like, you know, some really good just players, you know, jazz players, funk, you know, that type of stuff. And there's a lot out there of incredible players. But as far as like being a band, we were always just, I don't know. I guess I feel like I can't help it, and I feel like we can't help it. It's just kind of like what we wanted to do. And I've been obsessed with what is it that makes, how do you make something that lasts beyond a fad or a trend or and what are the songs that I love that hit me that I can put on any time, and it can be 10 years old, 20 years old, 50 years old, and it just hits you, you know. And like I think that's kind of what we've been obsessed with trying to make.
Yeah. Well, I think also in the studio you have to self-edit like brutally. So I think that like you get good at like making decisions fast on like what needs to be there and what doesn't need to be there. And I think since like we really put a lot of time into the studio, like even from early on, that I think like a lot of bands that like you'd consider jam bands, like they go in, they do a take, they say, oh, that was good, like let's do another one. They do another take, but like we've never necessarily recorded that way. And I think that like to me, I feel like a lot of our appreciation of pop kind of came through that, because you hear like, you know, you watch tutorials about like, oh, there's this layer behind this layer, and then there's this on top of this, and it's actually like it's not one guitar, it's 5 guitars stacked on top of each other. And so like little tricks like that, like I know for me at least, gave me like it trained my ear to listen to pop music completely differently, because the whole thing about it is it's like whittled down to like exactly what has to be there. And to me, like as an art form, I think that's just beautiful. It's like comedy, where like the shortest route you can take to get your message across, that's what you should do always.
I love it. I like how like set you are. You're talking with your hands. So I like your conviction. That means you know what you're talking about. No, I that's why I really appreciate you guys, because you bridge the gap between, you know, some people are so like, oh, it's jam, it has to be a certain way. And it's like, no, you can still have a good time and explore the melody, but also stick within a certain range. So I know you guys are touring soon. So how has your live shows evolved from when you first started? What can people expect to be different on this tour?
They've been wild lately with the addition of Cooper on bass, and like we've all been whipping out new tricks. I have some new toys. Aaron has new toys. So like we've really been enjoying like stretching out a lot further on stage than we have been like in recent years. And like fans are really, really responding to that, because we've been busting out songs that we haven't done in nearly a decade on some of these more recent shows.
Yeah.
And it's been really liberating to kind of have that freedom to stretch out and been like, oh no, we're going to fill the time. Like no problem. Like we have a long catalog of songs that are all now fair game again. So it's been exciting.
In New Year's, we played until literally the cops came.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That's my kind of show.
Yeah. I mean, I was up there, I was trying to be like kind of like still like somewhat civilized. I was like, I don't know. Packy was like, no, we're doing it. 2 more. I was like, I don't know. Like, you know, I see a badge, you know, like, and like, so like, we just been kind of going for it. And we have the thing that we have such a huge catalog. And like, we just did this thing for Denver, 2 nights in Denver, where we did all requests. And the thing that was just like crazy was the amount of different songs. I mean, there were certainly like some clear favorites, you know, but like the amount of different songs that have reached people kind of made us realize, and that people were shouting out, like we were like, well, we gotta start adding things back into the set, or, you know, so we've just been trying to do something different every night, and while still hitting like, you know, I don't know, like I said, at this point there's so many songs that if like you might find, and we try to like listen, like if somebody's like, yo, I really want to hear this song, we'll, you know, especially if we've seen them there like a bunch of times before in whatever city, we'll do it. Like, but like, it's funny how like you'll do that, and then inevitably there's always still somebody who's like, oh, they didn't play like whatever. And I don't know.
So y'all enjoy requests? Because I have a lot of DJ friends. They're always like, no requests. So you guys like it when fans request songs?
Well, it's not like somebody's asking us to play, you know, like Hit Me Baby One More Time or something, but like,
right. It's usually our songs, and often like I'm like, wow, and like sometimes people hit me with something, I'm like, I don't think we played that in like 6 years or so, but like I'll go talk to everybody, I'll see what they say.
That's the best
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah.
Okay, I know we've been talking for a while. I have 2 more questions. My first question for y'all is, what advice would you give to maybe like younger kids who are starting, who, might be in 7th grade or might be in, I doubt 7th graders are listening to this. I hope not. But, or, college freshmen who are starting a band with their friends. What advice do you have to give to them?
I would say follow your instincts and film everything.
Yeah. Get on TikTok.
Film
I guess.
everything, because it's
But also-
like it really is the name of the game. And like I know that like we've been doing this long enough where like that wasn't always the strategy, was to like literally have a camera rolling at all times. But shit, man, some of the things that have saved us in hindsight have been this, like somebody happened to have a camera rolling. And yeah, I mean, I would say film everything. Get out there though. Just get out there and play. Get your music out there.
Yeah, and like besides, everything is so online focused now that like I would actually encourage people to, like, everything's so, social media, TikTok, etc. focused, that I mean, I would encourage, if you're like, just try to get some gigs too and see how, your music is going over in person, even if it's not like it's such a weird, social media is such a weird place. Like you might get a lot of, attention on a certain post, but it like, does it mean it's good or not? Or like, I think you find out pretty quickly, like when you're playing to actual people, like what's working and what's not,
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely keep it old school still a little bit.
Keep it old school. Yeah.
Keep
And
it
Evan,
old
I know like
school.
we've talked about this before, but when it comes to like recording or like any project you're working on, you're never going to feel like you're done. You just run out of time. So like move forward knowing that like in hindsight, everything tends to age better. At least in our experience, like I remember like not feeling like 100% on certain things. And then like a few years go by and you listen to it again, you're like, oh, there's nothing wrong with this. Like, I don't know, like you can be so close to it that like you start to hurt it after a while.
I
Yeah.
love that. That's great. My final thing that I want to do with you guys, I want to play a quick game with you guys. And this is just off the top of my head, but the game is called JIMKATA or Nada. Okay. So if I'm going to list off some like hot topics, just random things like going on in the world, and you guys have to say if it's JIMKATA, it's cool. If it's Nada, it's not cool. Okay?
Niche.
Are you guys ready? So, right off the bat, White Claw. Is White Claw JIMKATA or Nada?
I'm a fan of the claws, though. I'm a JIMKATA when it comes to White Claw. Like I know the hard seltzer thing gets kind of poo-pooed, but like if it's 90 degrees out, like
And you're on a
nice
boat?
about a White Claw.
I'm kind of a Nada, but
I agree with you.
but I wouldn't turn it down. I mean,
You're more of a Truly guy, huh?
That's really, yeah. I don't know. I'm more of like a tequila and seltzer water, like tequila and seltzer. But like I feel like you have one. I always feel like you get to like the second one though, and it starts to taste like a battery.
It does, yes.
It
Yeah.
tastes like
what I'm
TV
not-
static.
Yeah.
It's like TV static, exactly.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm a Nada.
I'm not on that, Evan. All right, so Crocs, JIMKATA or Nada?
Nada.
Hmm.
They're not comfortable to me. I don't know if it's the shape of my foot or what. Like I've tried.
Do you have really wide feet? Because they're so wide. I think that's why they are so
Maybe that's why I think I have somewhat narrow feet.
Man, I don't know.
Prove it.
I guess I'll say, I don't know. I think I'm kind of a Nada. This is a weird one because somebody I got like a free pair of Crocs, and it was like, I want to say like 2 years before they were like all of a sudden everywhere. And I thought, and this was from like somebody's like that I was working with, like dad or something. And he just like brought him, hey, do you want a free pair of Crocs? Like, okay, sure, I guess, like I can wear them when I'm at home. And then like 2 years later, all of a sudden, like everybody's wearing Crocs. Like I don't know. I don't know. I'm just kind of confused actually.
Yeah. And I know you know
they
this
were
about
cool.
me.
And then they
Like,
were.
I know I tend to have a repulsion to anything that's like that popular and like that hyped up, and like you gotta get Crocs and there's a new tight-end Croc and you got like
That's
it was
the same
the same
way.
thing when when Game of Thrones came out. All anybody was talking about
Nada.
was Game of Thrones. So I never wanted to watch Game of Thrones because I was tired of hearing about it already.
I was the same way with The Hangover. Like the Hangover movie came out. Everyone was like, you guys see The Hangover, you guys see The Hangover. And I'm like, I was like the last one to see it. And I'm like, it's not that funny. I mean, it's funny, but like, it's not.
Right.
So I think I'm a nada. I'll stick with a nada on the Crocs.
Okay, so no Croc brand deals for JIMKATA. All right, let's see.
Well,
I'll take
wait
a
a
Croc
minute. Wait. I didn't say that. Crocs want us to send us a case of Crocs. I brushed my teeth
love
with that
Crocs.
shit.
Or Margaritaville Crocs.
So you kidding? I wear Crocs every day.
Margaritaville Crocs. I've heard. I had a couple friends get sent Margaritaville Crocs, so I'm jealous.
See, I'm not that strongly opinionated on it that I'd be like, no to some free Crocs. Like I said, I got some free Crocs from somebody's uncle, and I like that's what
the
I
weirdest story.
Somebody I worked with. That's what I thought like Crocs were. Like I just like dorky, you know. I don't know, like dad wear, and then all of a sudden next thing
I have
know, like
platform Crocs, I have high heeled Crocs, so they've gotten elevated a little bit. No pun intended. Apple Music, JIMKATA or nada?
JIMKATA.
I don't think I use Apple Music anymore.
No,
I don't think I do. I'm mostly Spotify and then YouTube. Honestly, if I'm looking for something else, like. Yeah, I almost always go to Spotify first.
Until Apple Music has their like yearly Wrapped, I feel like it won't be as good.
How does it even work anymore? Like, because Apple Music is now the streaming version of what iTunes was. I know it sounds.
I don't know. I use Spotify. I'm a millennial, so I don't. Yeah. People that use Apple Music, I'm sorry, but.
I use Spotify. I only say. I guess you're right, Packy. It's not iTunes because I would say I have respect to the OG. I feel like iTunes was like, you know, they at least they tried. They had something going. You could download something. I don't know.
I liked when iTunes was you paid 99 cents and you downloaded a track.
That's what I'm saying.
Because I still have hard drives full of albums that I bought for $10 because I was still buying tracks to like do DJ sets with. And honestly, I guess that's when I fell off with iTunes was when they stopped letting you download an actual track. Because then I was like, I have no use for this now. I already use Spotify. So if I was going to stream, I'm just going to do that.
Same. It's so hard to even get like a song to attach to a video I'm doing because you have to like go through, I don't know. It's all thing.
Right. You actually need the file.
Yeah. It's
but
crazy.
We're talking about this because I finally started a Beatport account last night, and I'm like, oh, this was what iTunes used to be.
See, I don't even know what Beatport is, and I feel like I'm very in tune to all things technical. So, gosh,
you literally go. All the tracks are between $1 and $3, and you just shop around and buy stuff, and like you get either a wave or whatever version you want of.
Yeah,
it's kind of great.
Like iTunes was back in the day.
Yeah, exactly.
God, again, this is the second time I'm saying this. We're old. So John Mayer as the frontman for the Grateful Dead, JIMKATA or nada? Be honest.
I think Jerry did it better, but I've seen Dead and Company, I think 4 or 5 times, and it didn't. I guess I should preface it with this too. I didn't have a big preconceived notion about John Mayer going into it. I wasn't like a fan and I wasn't a hater. So to me, it was just this guy that is like a really good singer. I know obviously he's a pop star, but he played and sang the Grateful Dead tunes better than like, you know, anybody else could have. So yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, you know, I guess I can't hate. I agree with that. I would say JIMKATA, and now I play his model of guitar now, so I really can't hate.
Right.
But I thought when we saw them at Hollywood Bowl,
right.
My first impression was like, wow, it's cool to actually hear his energy with the band.
He lifted it up big time. I got to admit, he really lifted it up.
You know, would I like to hear Jerry? Yeah, of course. That's like a not a question really, but I'm with it.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, JIMKATA's all around. Okay, my last question would be at a Phish show, page side, JIMKATA or nada?
I like being dead center, but like it's. I mean, anywhere in a Phish show. So I like, you know what it is? I like to move around in a Phish show a lot.
No way. I think you're the first person to ever say that.
Really? No, I love to.
I'm teasing.
Sorry.
I'm like, who sits still?
specifically Phish shows too. It's so much more about like running around and going on adventures and finding like different pockets of like homies that I know. So like I'm going up to section A, I'm going down to the floor. I'm gonna like, you know, I kind of like moving around and bouncing around because like it sounds different wherever you are.
Too.
Yeah,
I agree. I can't sit still.
I like, there was one show that I saw, you know, years and years ago now, I guess, but the seats were kind of right behind the stage in the arena.
Oh yeah, NASA,
yeah. And I don't know, that was cool because you could see, I think he's from my, you know, like, you know, musician nerdy perspective, right? It was really cool. I felt like that I could watch them walk on and off stage. I could see everything that was kind of going on between them as a band on stage. And like, it wasn't like special seats or anything. It was just like the first row, or I don't know, the first couple rows somewhere. I forget what you call it, but that was really cool.
Yeah. Anytime I encounter like a Phish hater, that's always my first question is like, well, have you seen Phish? And if the answer is yes, it's like, have you seen Phish from like the front row? Because if you've seen Phish from the front row and you're still not a fan, then like there's no sense in trying to convince you.
I just don't appreciate haters in general. I mean, like I understand everybody's allowed to not like a certain type of music, but like we were talking about when we first started chatting, some people are so like, oh, music needs to be serious, or oh, these lyrics are about this and that, and music should just be like lightening the load of life. You know, we all go through heavy, dark stuff. There's so much stuff going on in the world. Music should make you feel better. And that's why people should listen to JIMKATA, if you guys have not gotten that point across already. But
you know, music used to be like, let's say like the 60s, right? It was very, very heavily associated with some of the best music with civil rights and anti-Vietnam stuff and all that, and activism and whatever. I feel like now the waters are so kind of muddy, and it's a murky, strange time to figure out what's what sometimes. And if anything, I veer on the side of just trying to unite people as best we can, because it's have left is actually seeing each other in person in a room with people you don't know and having a good time and maybe making a new friend and like bonding over that music, whatever it is. And I don't know, I just feel like that's really important right now. And like,
well said. Thank you so much for you guys. So you guys are going on tour. Give me some tour dates. Where can people find you? Where can people buy tickets? Put out all your socials right now.
You want to do it, Evan?
Sure. Yeah, we're everywhere. JIMKATA Music on Instagram. JIMKATA on Facebook. JIMKATA.com for tour dates. Find us everywhere. New York City. Spotify. Yeah.
Yeah. When are you playing New York?
February 1st, New York City. New Blue.
7 p.m.
February 2nd, Philadelphia at Milk Boy. February 3rd, Washington, D.C. at Pearl Street Live. February 17th, Buffalo, New York at Ironworks. February 23rd, Saranac Lake at the Waterhole. February 24th, Stowe Cider in Stowe, Vermont. And and all the other dates today.
That's right. And New York starts early, just FYI. Don't ask me why.
Early show.
It's an early show.
Okay, well, hopefully I'll see you guys in New York. In case it shuts off, thank you guys so much.
Awesome.
Thank you guys. Have a good rest of the night. I had so much fun. Bye.
Yeah, bye, Nora. Thank you.
Don't call me boring.
One more.
Welcome to the party, bitch.